So Justin Bieber linked this story to me. Mass sterilization. Kenyan doctors find anti-fertility agent in UN tetanus vaccine. According to LifeScience News, a Catholic publication, the Kenya Catholic Doctors Association is charging UNICEF and WHO with sterilizing millions of girls and women under cover of an anti-tetanus vaccination program sponsored by the Kenyan government. The Kenyan government denies there's anything wrong with the vaccine and says it's perfectly safe. The Kenya Catholic Doctors Association, however, saw evidence to the contrary and had 6 different samples of the tetanus vaccine from various locations around Kenya sent to an independent laboratory in South Africa for testing. The results confirmed their worst fears. All 6 samples tested positive for the HCG antigen. The HCG antigen is used in anti-fertility vaccines, but was found present in tetanus vaccines targeted to young girls and women of childbearing age. Dr. Ngare, spokesman for the Kenya Catholic Doctors Association, stated in a bulletin released November 4th, quote, "This proved right our worst fears. That this WHO campaign is not about eradicating neonatal tetanus, but a well-coordinated, forceful population control mass sterilization exercise using a proven fertility regulating vaccine. This evidence was presented to the Ministry of Health before the 3rd round of immunization, but was ignored." Dr. Ngare brought up several points about the mass tetanus vaccination program in Kenya that caused the Catholic doctors to become suspicious. Dr. Ngare told LifeScience News that several things alerted doctors in the church's far-flung medical system of 54 hospitals, 83 health centers, and 17 medical and nursing schools to the possibility that the anti-tetanus campaign was secretly an anti-fertility campaign. Why, they ask, does it involve an unprecedented 5 shots, or jabs as they are known in Kenya, over more than 2 years, and why is it applied only to women of childbearing years? And why is it being conducted without the usual fanfare of government publicity? Quote, "Usually, we give a series 3 shots over 2 to 3 years. We give it anyone who comes into the clinic with an open wound, men, women, or children," said Dr. Ngare. But it is the 5 vaccination regimen that is most alarming. Quote, "The only time tetanus vaccines has been given in 5 doses is when it is used as a carrier in fertility regulating vaccines laced with the pregnancy hormone, human chorionic gonadotropin, HCZ, developed by WHO in 1992. It should be noted that UNICEF and WHO distributed these vaccines for free, and that there are financial incentives for the Kenyan government to participate in these programs. When funds from the UN are not enough to purchase years' allotment of vaccines, an organization started and funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Gavi, provides extra funding for many of these vaccination programs in poor countries. Also, there was no outbreak of tetanus in Kenya, only the perceived threat of tetanus due to local flood conditions. These local disasters are a common reason UNICEF goes into poor countries with free vaccines to begin mass vaccination programs. Health Impact News reported last year that UNICEF began a similar mass vaccination program with 500,000 doses of live oral polio vaccine in the Philippines after a super typhoon devastated Tacloban and surrounding areas. This was in spite of the fact that there were no cases of polio in the Philippines since 1993. And people who have had the live polio vaccine can shed the virus into sewage systems, thereby causing the actual disease it is supposed to be preventing. A very similar mass vaccination with the live oral polio vaccine occurred among Syrian refugees in 2013, when 1.7 million doses of polio vaccines were purchased by the UNICEF, in spite of the fact that no cases of polio had been seen since 1999. After the mass vaccination program started, cases of polio began to reappear in Syria. It seems quite apparent that UNICEF and WHO use these local disasters to mass vaccinate people, mainly children and young women. Massive Education and propaganda efforts are also necessary to convince the local population that they need these vaccines. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show.